Hey folks, welcome to Casting with Kirk. I'm Kirk. I'm so glad you could join me today. One of the things I want to discuss and talk about is very important, but it sometimes is overlooked and taken for granted that it's just something that happens. It's the storage of your rods and your reels. And this is pertaining to whether you're storing them for the season or you've just got them, say, stored, somewhere in a office or in your garage between fishing trips, or when you're storing them when you're actually going on a fishing trip. You want to protect those rods. I don't care if it's a $20 rod or a $500 rod. You need to protect them because it can get expensive when you start damaging them, breaking off the eyelets, snapping the rods. I've done that a few times. It can get expensive when you have to sit and keep replacing them. I've come up with a few different ways I like to store my rods and my reels. One of the most important pieces you can buy, and they're really inexpensive, are called rod socks. Basically, they're just a cover. You can get them in all different sizes, colors. They come in different materials. These you can pick up for about $5-6. They come in for bait casting and also spinning rods. You just slip these right over the top of your rods. It protects the eyelets, which are one of the most important pieces you want to protect. Now, when I'm storing my reels or going, say, on a fishing trip, and I don't necessarily want to have my lures tied on at that time while I'm traveling, a little trick I found is you go out, you get yourself some of these just small little coated paper clips. You can get a bag of like 100 of these things for just a couple of dollars at like Walmart or an office supply store. And what I do is I take my reel and I wind the line not all the way onto the spool. I leave a little bit out and I tie on a paper clip right on the end of it and just reel it up just nice and snug against the reel. And that way, when I go to take this reel and put it onto a rod, I don't have to try and thread the line back through the eye. All I got to do is just release it and pull it out, and I'm ready to put it on my rod and tie on a lure and ready to go. I use that same concept when, say, I'm going to leave the reel on my rod and I'm going to store it. And the little hook hanger that comes on rods, and you just take a paper clip, tie it on the end of your line, bend out the end of it a little bit, put it through that rod keeper, tighten up your line just a little bit, and now you're good to go. What's really important is when you're storing a rod with a lure tied to that rod, there's a proper way to do it. You don't want to ever put the hooks of the lure through the eyelet on the rod. That can break out the eyelet. You want to either hook the hook of the lure onto the hook hanger. This baitcaster does not have a hook hanger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hook and I'm just going to clip it right over the top of the reel housing and just tighten it up. And now I'm good to go for travel. Again, just as a quick wrap up, storage is really important for your rods. You don't want to damage them. You don't want to keep going out and replacing your rods if you don't have to. Get some rod socks to cover them up. Get yourself a little bit of bags of paper clips. Store them the right way. They'll last you for years, perform for you like they should. If you like these tips and tricks, hit that like and subscribe. I thank you so much for joining me today. We're getting ready to go out and do some spring bass fishing. Have yourself a great day. So here's a little tip when you want to store your rod covers. Take the tip that's closed, stick it into the end that's open, poke it in, and just begin to slowly push it in as you're pushing on the actual rod cover itself. And now you've got a nice little circle. Easy way to store these. I used to do it on my bass boat where I do these and toss it right over the steering wheel. Or when you're walking down a shore or something like that and you really don't have anywhere to put it, pop it over your head and you can fish and you don't have this thing getting lost.